In this video, I'll be showing you how to make Indian chai, also known as spiced chai. The key ingredients that we will need for this particular recipe are black loose leaf tea, sugar, which in my case is raw sugar, some fennel seeds, a couple of cardamom pods, a bit of cinnamon, a couple of peppercorns, a few cloves, and a bay leaf. Bit of ground ginger, ideally fresh ginger is what you would use, and keep in mind that this is a recipe for one person. If you're going to make more, then you need to add a lot more milk and a lot more water, as well as more spices accordingly. First stage is to mix the water and milk together. So essentially here I've got half a cup of milk, half a cup of water. This is now going to go straight into the saucepan. I have actually turned the flame on and it's about low to medium. Pour that in and let that start heating up while we go over to the other side and start grinding up those spices. Here in the mortar and pestle, you can see I've got all the spices there, except the bay leaf, which I've already popped into the saucepan where the milk and the water are gently heating up. So the idea here is to grind up these spices as finely as you can. Give them all a good bash and a mix. Taking care here to try and grind them down as fine as you can, because this process actually releases all the flavor from the different spices and they really start to mix together. Here you can see I've ground them up. That's probably going to do the job for us. But the finer you grind this, the better the flavors actually get released from those spices. So now we just have to add this to the milk and water mix that is already in the saucepan. You can see the bay leaf is already there and it's been on that flame there on the stove for a few minutes already. Going to give all that a bit of a mix. And we'll just let that simmer away and let the flavors infuse into the milk and water for a couple of minutes. Just make sure that the flame is kept relatively low. We don't want the milk to boil over at this stage. You can see here that our milk, water and spices have all been brewing together for a while, and there's a bit of a gentle boil happening there, which is what we want at this stage. We don't want the milk to actually rise. A few more minutes later, you can see that the milk is no longer white. It has started to absorb those spices nicely. And I'm going to give this a couple more minutes so that infusion is happening a lot better. After a few minutes, I'm going to add in my black tea. In this case, I'm adding in about 1.5 teaspoons. Also, guys, the sugar's already been added here as well. I've added 1 teaspoon of sugar because I don't want a lot of sugar in my tea, but if you like a lot more sugar, then you can add 2 teaspoons or so. Once the tea has been added in, give that a bit of a mix, and then you should probably raise the flame and start to get it to really get into a rapid boil. After a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, you can see that the color has changed significantly. It's now looking a lot more like a creamy chai that we want. It's got that nice brown color there. And obviously, you've got to make sure you don't leave it on for too long, because otherwise your tea is going to get that slightly bitter flavor that you get from tea that is a little bit too strong. I let it rise a couple of times. I mix it up again. I let it rise up again, mix it up again. And that just makes this whole concoction a little bit more creamier. And just that little bit more tastier. Last stage, I'm going to add a little bit of ginger into this. In this case, I'm using ginger powder. Ideally, I would have had fresh chopped ginger. If you've got fresh ginger, nothing like it. Add all that in, and guys, we're nearly done here. At this stage, I'm only going to leave it on the flame for about 20 seconds. And all that we have to do is strain this through into a nice cup and enjoy this with a couple of biscuits or any snacks of your choice. Thanks for watching.